Well, I'd like to welcome from Third Mutual, Roy Burninghouse. It's the first time that he's come on our morning program, and we'd like to welcome you.
Well, thank you very much,
Nice
Ken.
to have you here, Roy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. Now, tell us about your background. I know you've been on Third not too long.
That's right. Moved here almost 2 years ago and joined the board in December of 2017, I guess, and spent most of my time on the East Coast. Had 3 careers, education, government service, state of North Carolina, and IBM. And retired from IBM and then got involved in boards.
Okay. Where you lived before?
Where I lived before, in Plymouth, America's hometown. Spent 4 years on as the managing director of a condo board where I lived, and also served on the charter school board in Plymouth. And that was exciting. Both were exciting, but the condo board in Plymouth, the charter school board, was the most exciting because we were building a new building. So I was on the architecture committee and you know, was the liaison between the school board and the architects and the contractors, and now it's finished and they're in it, and it's really pretty impressive what they wound up finally doing.
So what brought you all the way from the East Coast out here?
A couple of things. First of all, my oldest son kept pestering me, and every time they got 3 nor'easters in a row, which is what they got this last month.
That's true, yeah.
He would call and say, hey, well, you know, when are you moving out here? And so I finally got fed up with the snow and he had a son, and now he's got 2, and so I've got 2 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Wanted to be near him and his wife and the grandkids. My daughter wasn't terribly happy about that because she lives in Texas, and 4 of my grandkids are down there.
Yeah, so she tried to get you to come there.
She tried to get me to go to Texas,
yeah.
But I'm very happy to be here.
Well, great. So you've been on the Third board for a few months, and I understand a few things you want to talk about today.
Yes, I've been impressed with the Third board. I know all the boards work hard, but Third board in particular faces the challenges of catch-up in terms of trying to rectify the problem with deferred maintenance on the buildings. We're doing an awful lot. We actually have 30 projects currently underway, and that's a lot to keep track of. As a matter of fact, this particular page list of projects is on the website, so residents can go out and check and see what we're doing. But I would like to call attention to a couple of projects that are forward-looking. We do an awful lot of maintenance. We do an awful lot of fixing stuff. But the forward-looking projects are street and walkway lighting projects, which we're working on right now. The board just approved a contract with Siemens to assist in the replacement or acquisition of 788 streetlights.
This is a big project. It's something that they've been looking forward to for quite some time, and of course, they had to. Things got a little dragged out because you're dealing with Southern California Edison.
Yes.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there. We haven't signed the contract with Siemens yet, but the board approved it at their last meeting, so we're excited about that. We're going to retrofit all those light fixtures, 788 of them with LED bulbs. These bulbs throw more light and use less energy, so it's a total win-win.
Yeah, that'll be a great thing.
And we also signed them up to provide maintenance for 3 years.
Okay.
So at the end of 3 years, we'll look at them and see how they're doing, and either renew it or take it over ourselves, however that might work. The other project that goes along with that is a walkway lighting pilot project in Gates 5 and 6, and I understand the consultant has just finished his report for Gates 7 and 8.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do there is improve the brightness, if you will, of the lights that go around our walkways.
Right, which has always been
It's
a
pretty dark.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark at night, and it's not only a safety issue, but it's also a convenience issue.
Yeah.
You know, when you're carrying packages and, you know, pushing carts and stuff like that, you kind of like to know where you're going.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, also, you know, you're talking about the infrastructure here, the aging infrastructure, and that's true when it comes to electrical, right?
Yes, and that's our next big project. We're just starting to get into that, and what we want to do there is work with all the boards, because the electrical infrastructure touches everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you're in United, whether you're in the towers, whether you're in Third, and GRF also obviously has a stake in that. So we've got a consultant to help all of our boards, and we're trying to get the committees to work together on this to develop basically a long-range plan. We need to upgrade our infrastructure. We need to make use of new technology to help us out, both in terms of efficiency and in terms of effectiveness. One of the exciting things, and one of the things we have to do, is provide electrical charging stations for EV vehicles,
right.
Electric vehicles. California just passed a law that said we have to accommodate electric vehicles. So I notice right here in the community center, we've already got a couple of charging stations. And it seems to be catching on all over. The Ayers Hotel,
yes,
for example, just put in a EV station. And one of the things that we're looking at is putting these stations perhaps near our laundry rooms. Because you need the 240 volts.
Yes, you do.
So you have to have outlets, and since we have dryers, they plug into those heavy-duty outlets.
And more people are going to be opting for these type of vehicles, especially it fits this community very well, where people don't generally drive really long distances.
Right.
So having an electric vehicle is just, it's
That's
perfect.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah, ever since I've been out here, I've tried to avoid the 5. And fortunately, I can get just about anywhere I need to go by using the
It's a little bit different
streets.
back in North Carolina.
We don't have the
What's
choices.
the main? Was it 95? I'm trying.
I-95.
I-95.
And 85.
And 85.
85
yes.
goes to Charlotte. Yeah.
Yes, and I've been on that. Not down there, but in Virginia. So,
Yes.
and that can get
Yes,
up too.
no question about it. But the good news, in California, we have very good secondary roads.
Yeah.
Whereas in the East, we don't.
That's true.
You know, I mean, Route 3 is not exactly a superhighway.
Yeah, so I understand why you want to avoid the 5. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
Now, parking task force. This is something else that's been an ongoing issue, and I know over the past year they've restriped, so to speak.
Well, we're working on that. That's something that, the red curbs,
to create more space.
We took away and created over 500 new spaces. But the next step, we're looking at other options now, and the restriping is one that we think might work, because a lot of our parking spaces are 12 feet wide, and the standard parking space width, if you go to a shopping center or you know, anywhere in the outside community, 7.5 to 8 feet wide. So we think we can pick up some additional spaces.
Okay.
But I wanted to just say that our parking task force in Third is a permanent task force. So it's chaired by John Frankel, and the members include Bill Walsh, Bunny Carpenter, and myself. And so restriping is one of the first things we're trying to do. The next thing we're doing, and we've already started this, is to ask for and to receive increased security patrols in what we call the hot zones.
Okay.
We did a study, as you know, parking study, and we identified a bunch of areas in Third that we call hot zones, where you really do have limited parking. So
yeah.
As you know, the developers, when they built this place, they only designed it for 1 car per unit. And our bylaws allow 1 more car than you have bedrooms. So you could have somebody with 3 cars when it's designed for 1. And that brings me to the next point, that I really want to get a request to residents to please, if you have an assigned space, use it. Do not park in guest parking.
Yeah.
You know, if you have an assigned space, because all you're doing is making it very difficult for guests and for anybody else that may come by, your family and so forth. And then finally, as I mentioned before, we're focused on EV stations and where to put them. And so those are our 4 priorities for parking. And of course, our president reviewed all the other things we're doing in parking.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We really don't want to get into tearing up landscape and building parking lots and doing that because it's very expensive. So we're going to try these things first.
All right, it seems like a good plan. And then you wanted to briefly go over what's coming up on your meeting, which will be on Tuesday. This is the regular meeting.
Right.
And tell us what's coming up for tomorrow's meeting.
We actually are in the process, as I think all our residents know, of redoing alteration standards, our architectural standards, and our landscape standards.
Yeah.
So at every meeting, we've got a bunch of standards that we have to approve or put on 30-day and approve them at the next meeting. We're also going to be talking about our trash chute repair project. You know, we finished cleaning all the trash chutes in the 3-story buildings. And now we're going to look at and hopefully approve a trash chute repair project to begin sometime this year. That's a biggie because those things have been neglected for a very long time. And it's not so much of a problem if you don't live in a 3-story building, but it is for those folks that live there. And we're also going to be looking at an unoccupied manor inspection policy. I never realized how many manors. I think there's something like 58 of them or something. An awful lot of manors that are unoccupied and have been occupied. One of them has been occupied since 2008. A lot of people don't realize that.
Wow.
So what we want to do is to inspect them at least once a year and maybe once every 6 months because if you have a leak or something in one of those things, it affects everybody.
That's amazing. 2008?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have the list somewhere in the stacks of paper that I get every day. And then finally, we have the committee reports, which I think, we have a bunch of standing committees, and that's always interesting for folks to hear what those committees, because basically all of these projects, all of these 30 projects came out of those committees. The committees approve them, and then the board approves them.
Yes.
And by the way, our VMS staff director, Brad Hudson, bless his heart, he doesn't spend a dime unless one of the boards approves it.
Right.
So it's not his money. It's the community's money. He gets accused of spending all his money. But this is where the money gets approved.
Yeah, a lot of projects.
So lots of projects, lots of activity, and again, we welcome, input to both the committees and we like to have attendance at the board meeting. So if residents are interested in helping out, if they have special skills, please come forward, help us on the committees, help us on the board. We're all in this together.
Yeah, that's true. Well, folks, if you want to attend that board meeting Tuesday at 9:30, you can head on down there. And I'm sure Roy would love to meet you if he haven't met you before.
Absolutely.
All right. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.